Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I'm Dianne Barlow. I'll spend the next 30 minutes talking about retirement, the challenges, and some strategies that will help you prepare for a comfortable retirement. We will send you a recording after this, so don't worry if you need to leave before we get to the end. Sorry, mouse not working. We're going to cover off understanding your retirement goals, your time frame, creating a wealth plan, understanding your decumulation strategies in retirement, some estate planning essentials, and hopefully we've got some time for some questions at the end. As you'll understand, this presentation is provided for general information only. I really encourage you to seek personalised financial advice from someone qualified that you trust, or come and see me. We'll have a special offer for you at the end of this presentation if you would like to come and see one of our amazing Enable Me coaches. A personalised plan takes into account your assets, your debt, your goals, and your time frame and your risk profile. So really important to have. This is me. In my prior life, I was a chartered accountant, and I know what it's like to be a client. 15 years ago, my husband and I worked with Hannah McQueen. She was the founder of Enable Me. We were pretty casual around money. We had no spending plan, no goals, no tracking. We were comfortably inefficient, something I see with a lot of my clients now. We were soon on track and making progress. And then for the last 10 years, I've been working as a strategic coach for Enable Me. I love my job. People come in stressed about their finances, frustrated that they're not making progress. And they leave that first meeting excited about the financial future and wanting a plan to make it happen. What does a comfortable retirement mean? For me, it is about having a similar lifestyle through that 25, 30 years of retirement. Also being in a position to cover any house maintenance or replace cars, and of course do a bit of travel. A lot of people aren't sure if they're on track. If you feel like you're behind, you're not alone. This is the reality of a lot of Kiwis at the moment, and quite scary statistics. 56% of retirees feel that they have to compromise on what they would like to do due to finances. 13% still have a mortgage. And this is a worrying figure. 1 million parents are still financially supporting their adult children. They might have the children, kids and grandkids living with them, or they might just be helping a little with groceries or paying rent. We're here to guide you and understand how we can solve some of these challenges together. To be honest, we all have options, but some of these options aren't palatable or possible. A lot of my clients do work past 65, but I want that to be because they want to, not because they have to. Some people factor in downsizing their home. It is important to be realistic around how much equity you will release from downsizing your home, because when we go into retirement, we kind of want a low maintenance home. We often want to be near family and friends, medical services, etc. So the difference between an older big family home and your new kind of low maintenance home may not be as much. We don't tend to factor in inheritance. It does seem a little bit in bad taste to factor relying on someone passing on to sort your retirement, but for some people it is a reality, and of course we can factor it in. I tend to factor in New Zealand superannuation for my clients over 45, but we really do not know if it's going to be means tested or they will raise the limit. How do we create wealth? First, we need to get on the property ladder, either a home or an investment property. Pay down the debt as quickly as possible. This will save you interest and increase your equity. Then get to the point where you can leverage the equity locked up in your home or investment property to buy another property. I like my clients to pay down the investment property debt to the point where the rental property washes its face or is cash neutral. And then if time is on their side, they can leverage more equity and buy another investment property. All investments, whether they be managed funds, shares, investment properties, need constant review. Please don't set and forget. And older rental properties may have worked well in the past, but it's important to understand what are the maintenance requirements coming up for that. Is it a good use of your money, or should you actually turn that property over and buy something a bit newer? KiwiSaver will keep working its magic if it's in the right fund for you. And it's also important to be aware, as we age, we tend to change our investment mix away from property towards managed funds. And this can give you regular cash flow to fund your outgoings. But once again, everyone is different, hence a bespoke plan that is reviewed regularly is essential. Regardless of your retirement number, the important aspect to understand is that if you grow wealth, it creates options. Options around what you do during retirement, where you live, whether you can retire early or go part-time, stop work, etc., leaving a legacy or helping your children. And don't forget, the best laid plans don't always work out. You might have bad health or be made redundant or have to care for someone. And if you find that you have to retire earlier than you imagined, if you've got assets, they will protect, they will reduce any negative balance impact on your retirement. And buffers will help you weather changes in circumstances, downturns in the economy or asset classes. They will help you absorb curveballs. As Hannah McQueen always likes to say, we don't want the tide to go out and leave you swimming naked. You must have buffers. I'm sure all of us would love to have a better than okay retirement. Where do we start? The first step is understanding how much a happy life costs. Then we extrapolate that over 25 to 30 years. We need to get our mortgage paid off as quickly as possible. We need to work out how much can we accumulate for the rest of our working life, and then understand if we're going to be on track or if there is a shortfall. Most of the figures we hear are based on being mortgage-free and having financially independent children. If we fast forward to retirement, ideally you have a mortgage-free home and enough wealth built up around outside of your home to fund your lifestyle. We can't hit our home, and we tend to treat that as a lifestyle asset rather than an investment. Once we have this figure, we can work out whether we need to, what our strategy to bridge the shortfall is, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Once again, if everyone is different, but we are talking about general principles at the moment. We need a strong foundation, financial foundation, to achieve financial success. So it's about having good money habits, understanding what your goals are so that you can go there directly rather than waver around. Cash flow management is key. If you don't, think of it like grocery shopping. If you go in without a list, we tend to overspend or have impulse buys. So having a spending plan, comparing actual spending against budget is key. and that ensures that your surplus is directed towards your goals. Debt, we want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. It saves interest, and the bank is not your friend. KiwiSaver, of course, be in the right fund, make sure that the money, it's working as hard as possible for you. Why do we think so many people aren't prepared? Well, we hear a lot. We hear, when the children aren't in daycare, I'll be able to save. And once the kids leave home, it will be easier. The timing's not quite right. Understand all that. The cost of living has been tough on many, many Kiwis, but many of us cannot afford to wait until conditions are perfect. And when the economic environment feels more comfortable, we often don't take advantage of it. If you think back a couple of years ago when interest rates were 3%, were people smashing down their mortgages? Not always. There were a few holidays had and a bit of eating out. Conditions will never be perfect. And by waiting for the perfect time, you're actually losing opportunity because inflation will kick in, prices will go up. Honestly, the right time to begin is now. It's never too late to start preparing, but the later you do leave it, the less opportunities you may have. And I've got an example of that later. Be brave, be committed, take action. You can do this. You don't need a lot to get started, but you do need the right structure, mindset, and systems in place to get moving. Let's talk about this. So this couple here, they bought their home at 35. They were on track for a 30-year mortgage, which means that it would be paid off by 65. And it would only leave them with some KiwiSaver to cover their lifestyle to about 69. That's the dotted line there. They focused on their debt repayment and were able to pay off their house mortgage by 55, giving them an extra 10 years to invest and save and prepare for retirement. So they accumulated some investments, and when they looked ahead, they felt that they could cover their lifestyle till 80. That's not enough. My gold standard, I'd like my clients covered till 90 if possible. So a wealth plan kicks in. Well, it's been going the whole time, but the wealth plan is really important to then work out when you sell assets, which assets you keep, because you want to extend the time that they will cover your lifestyle. The larger the gap, the more the retirement gap I'm talking about, the more risk you're likely to need to take. Different options yield different returns. But generally, your investment strategy comes down to your appetite to risk. Working backwards, when we understand what your shortfall is, that influences your strategy and your available options. More often than not, if your retirement gap is more than 300,000, you are likely to need to lean into property investment, but it needs to be the right property. I work out the retirement gap down to the dollar for my clients, but if you think you have got a gap, property is a great way of solving that. People do think they have an infinite time to execute on the strategies available. That is honestly not true. As we get older, the banks are less likely to lend to us. So really, really important, if you are in a position where you have spare equity and you can service the borrowings, do it now. It will help secure a fabulous retirement or give you the ability to help your children or just give you more options. Now, we talk about leverage a lot. What do we mean by leverage? Here's a very simplistic example just to demonstrate the power of it. These are not actual returns. We're not saying this at all, but if you had 160,000 in managed funds, say you were getting a return of 6%, that's about 9,600 a year. If you put that 160,000 towards an investment property, use some bank's money as well, and bought an $800,000 property at 6%, you're getting 48,000. The numbers are bigger because the asset is bigger. Leverage is considered to be one of the wonders of the world. Simplistically, you put in some money, the bank puts in some money, and you keep 100% of the gain. I'd like you to meet Jim and Kathy. These guys had a retirement gap of 550,000, sounds a lot, but back in 2020, they bought a brand new investment property in Papamoa. It was 665,000. I hear you saying, oh, so cheap, it must have been easy. Actually, it wasn't. Back then, there was COVID, there was uncertainty, lockdowns, but they worked through the process to buy a great property in a growth area, which was going to be a good family home for their tenants and one that they could afford to hold. It wasn't easy, but nothing worth doing is easy. And I can tell you right now, that property has gone up 195,000. There's no way in the world they would have saved that 195,000 in the last 5 years. Once you stop work, you don't actually cash in all your assets. There's different ways to decumulate your wealth. So some people want to live off the investment returns and keep the capital. It does depend on your situation. Or they may withdraw a certain amount each year to subsidise their New Zealand superannuation, or they may withdraw a certain percent. I think you've probably heard of the 4% rule or phased approach. So lots of different options. Your cash flow plan will dictate when you need to access funds and when you need to withdraw big amounts of money. For example, if you're going to replace your car in 5 years and spend 30,000, you'll need to have available funds to draw down then. At every stage, your wealth plan will need to evolve throughout retirement, and you'll need to balance liquidity, growth, and continued growth to make your money work as hard as possible and stretch it a little bit longer. There's a lot to this. I find that a lot of people struggle with the decumulation stage. They have spent their lives accumulating assets and they end up asset rich and cash poor. It is heartbreaking when there's not enough cash to have a comfortable lifestyle, or they're curbing the lifestyle they want, and they are scared to sell down assets. It is an important mindset change that needs to take place in order for them to enjoy the investments that they have accumulated, and also to be on the same page. Often it's one person wants to sell the investment property and the other person doesn't. They think that the market will go up. But, you know, we want to enjoy our retirement. We've worked hard. So this is the time to start letting go of some assets. The questions we'll help you with are, when should you start changing your risk profile? You need to understand when is the right time to sell. Say, for example, investment properties. Do you keep them earning? Can you live off the income? It depends on when you need the income, the type of property, any maintenance costs that are coming up, the property market, and your ability to hold it a little bit longer. As a coach at Enable Me, my duty of care is to ensure you're protected. And we do that with a strong financial plan, but there's some other documents that are really important to have in place. A will is the key to ensure that your loved ones are looked after and that your assets will go where you want them to. Really importantly, important to have an executor that you trust will carry out your wishes. Any major life changes, such as marriages or breakdown of relationships or children, etc., will require you to update your will. See your lawyer about that. Enduring power of attorney, and another important document that your lawyer will help you with. They will, you will choose somebody to make the decisions if you're unable to. Trusts may not be as applicable these days, but if you have a business or blended family or child that needs extra care, a trust may be appropriate. Once again, your lawyer will help you with this. And a living will help your family make some of those difficult medical decisions if you're unable to. It takes a lot of stress away if it's in writing and the family knows what you wish. Right, we've covered off a lot, but the takeaways are understand where you need to get to in your time frame, understand what your retirement gap will be, is likely to be, to determine your strategy and plan, and determine how you'll manage your finances once you retire. There is a big difference between doing it and doing it optimally so you can maximise your options. We all have good intentions, but seriously, life gets in the way, and knowing what you should do isn't enough. It's action that gets the results. It's heartbreaking when people do miss the opportunity. I was working with clients in 2021. They were in their late 50s and they were in a position to buy an investment property. They actually had the pre-approval. They were all ready to go. They got cold feet and didn't, and now they are back working with me trying to solve that retirement gap. Unfortunately, now they're in the early 60s, their options are a bit more limited, and properties, of course, have gone up. Don't be them. Come and see me or one of our other coaches and get a plan in place. Your future self will help you. Well, thank you, sorry. Your future self will thank you. So what does Enable Me do? We work with our clients. We start off by diagnosing where you're starting with, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, understanding your opportunities, articulating clear goals, whether they are getting on the property ladder, paying down debt, or growing wealth. Understanding your natural tendencies around saving, spending. Find this financial surplus and put it towards your goals to really make sure you are achieving your goals. We create a personalised plan that aligns with your risk appetite, whether you're a safety warden or an adventurer, and make sure that you can confidently execute on that plan in the right order at the right time. Procrastination is no good. We become your trusted sounding board. We provide guidance, we hold you steady, celebrate the wins, and pick you up when things don't go to plan. If this has sparked any questions for you, or you're wondering whether you're on track or not, highly encourage you to book a consultation with one of our amazing Enable Me coaches. You can do that at a cost of $149. If it's booked today, the value actually is $400. So that is an amazing one, and it will give you a lot of peace of mind. Now I think we've got some questions.
Yes, we do. So we've got 2 questions for today. And our first question is it better to pay off my home mortgage completely first or start investing in a rental property while still paying off my mortgage?
Okay. Right. I think we need both two strategies working at the same time. Like, you should pay down your house mortgage until you're at that stage where you can leverage to buy an investment property. If you wait until your home mortgage is completely paid off, you've missed years of growth in your investment property. So the sooner you can get another property under your belt, that is going to accelerate your wealth creation as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Dianne. Our second question is, do you have any advice on how to wean young adult children off financial support?
So we're not doing, look, as parents, we all want to help our kids, but we're not doing them any favours if we empower them to be financially hopeless. I would tell your children, have a discussion with the family, tell them that you are on a financial challenge, you are sorting out your own retirement. It is about oxygen mask on first. Once you get sorted, that may give you the ability to help them in the future. Tell them that if you don't sort your own retirement out, you're going to be living with them. That might scare them. But seriously, if they are mid-teens, 16, 17, they really should, if possible, have a part-time job. You may still be subsidising them. Set a limit, set a time frame. It's not unlimited. And once they are working full-time, absolutely they should be paying board and covering their own costs. Help them with the bank account structure, help them with the spending plan. There's some amazing podcasts out there that can help teach financial basics.
Thanks, Dianne. Sorry we can't answer everyone's questions today, but we do encourage, if you've got any questions about our financial consultations, to email us at info@enable.me or call us on the number on our website. I'll hand it back to you, Dianne, to close off.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this useful. I look forward to seeing some of you, and have an awesome day.